Hey, good afternoon, or morning, or night, whenever you're watching this. Today you have me, Justin McDonald, with you, world class entrepreneur, probably one of the best copywriters on the East Coast, and I'm probably tooting my own horn. However, I want to share a quote with you today. And today, I happen to have another one from Vance Morris. Not sure if you watch or listen to these in sequential order, but it was just funny because yesterday I had one on Vance Morris, and I don't know how many I do or have written down on index cards, different notable things that he said, or something that I read that he said. I'm not entirely sure if this is even from the same book I was referencing before on the systematic magic, but either way, um, the quote actually is, if your aim is to make your business as successful as possible, it's useful to look at what lies behind some of the world's greatest businesses. Just making sure we're still going live here. Absolutely are. So, what I think he's trying to say is kind of like, um, when you look at other influencers and other people in your market, like what they're doing, and you kind of want to see how they got there. Now, it doesn't mean like you're going to get there the same way, but like, who do they follow? And those people, who do they follow? Or what books are some of your influencers and thought leaders, people that you look up to? What are they reading? What are they watching? Um, I would go beyond the schooling part, because we're not necessarily living in a society where everybody has equal opportunity when it comes to where they go to school, based on income status and location. However, there's a lot of common threads and a lot one can gain by watching how some great entrepreneurs, marketers, CEOs of companies, people that started up companies, people that ran successful businesses, and other creative geniuses. A lot of times, especially most of the time now with technology now, you can find out a lot of these things. And it's in your benefit to explore and learn and educate yourself with this wealth of knowledge, because you gotta think, some of the people that you look up to probably had to spend a lot of time waiting just to get to the library so they can access the information that you're able to get in the palm of your hand. So it's very helpful to study the people, study with the people that you're study. Um, and don't like just limit yourself to that, and also don't compare yourself to anybody else either. Compare yourself to yourself. So you always want to get 1% better than you were the day before, or tomorrow you're going to do it, and today you're going to do everything 1% better, and you're always moving forward that way. So you can borrow a lot of ideologies and belief systems and philosophies and ideas from various sources, from various creative geniuses, business owners, copywriters, writers, artists, you name it. The list goes on and on. And there's so many good ones. Like, study the best of the best, and then try to see if you can also find ways to study that same stuff too. You might be missing out on a whole wealth and world of knowledge you didn't even know existed until you decided to, like, stumble upon some book or some type of mystery school or something like that. Like, there's a lot of good stuff out there. And one lesson that a lot of us learn as entrepreneurs is you don't really want to be starting from scratch. You don't want to necessarily have a completely unique idea. Yes, you do in some aspects, right? To some respect or whatever, to some degree, you do want to be unique, but you also, if you want to think of it as a business, there's a balance there. So you do have to almost like dream realistically, where it's like, it's almost like you don't have total, I guess you could say, freedom to just dream up whatever you want, and because of the fact that it's unique and so special means that it's going to be relevant and going to be a good idea. You have to be able to balance it with like a little bit of what's common sense and what's working. I guess you could say prolific, right? Like, what's the prolific index of this thing? Yeah, right? Because like common knowledge and all that is easy to get and boring. Nobody really wants to like pay too much attention to technobabble unless it's like when they really need to or something. It's not really, it's more like a research project than somebody taking an enjoyment in reading, right? Like, people don't really tend to enjoy just reading facts. Hey, maybe some people do, but people don't just want facts and figures. When they're reading or buying something, it doesn't matter. They want to follow a story. Their minds just want to follow a story. They really do. Our minds just, I don't know what it is, but they would much rather follow a story than just like facts, figures, features, benefits. It's like, after a while. So it's very powerful. I know I'm talking about something else now, is having that storytelling ability too. And if you want to segue from that too, like the prolific index, is a real connection here, because you go that from that storytelling, by being prolific in that same degree, where you're like, you have a unique and fun and engaging story, but you're also able to balance it as a business, in a business aspect. I'm not sure if I can be too clear on that one, but we're going to talk about that some other time. So, like, when you're starting a business, you do want to have a unique selling proposition. You do want to have a unique message, okay? But there's a formula there is a structure, there's a set of boundaries and laws and rules that kind of govern um, how successful businesses work. And you kind of need to fit in that mold a little bit. You might just want to be your own flavor or color. But you do need to follow a system of rules. Because otherwise it would just be a total mess. Not saying it's not a total mess, right? Businesses and the economy now. But the businesses that are solely, I guess you could say, in it for the money, but they do things, I don't know how to say it, they don't provide enough value, and they're not unique enough, like as in like they might have a good price for stuff, but they don't provide enough value for your typical consumer of today, I guess you could say. um could be as simple as not having good customer service. I know it sounds simple, but not having good customer service is the easiest, quickest, most common way to totally lose a customer forever. I mean, think about it. Like, what if somebody went to a bigger chain place like Walmart or Home Depot and had great customer service by such and such person that works at both places? They just happen to luck out. Or a fast food chain. Pick one, right? And they've, for a long time, they've had a great relationship with these places because the people there were just really, they just were helpful, they were knowledgeable, and they were efficient, and they were like just very helpful in answering questions, and they became trustworthy people in some, for some business purchasing decisions. Now, those same people, let's say they go to a different Home Depot, they go to a different Walmart, or they go to a different fast food chain, and they get terrible service, they get terrible customer service, or like the place is gross, or it's a mess, or something's out of whack. That's it. That's sometimes all people can really handle, as far as like, okay, here's this bad experience, I'm going to write them off. I'm not saying they should or shouldn't. It's just a gut reaction, so you can't really blame them, can you? It's why customer service is so important. So, again, you do want to be unique, right? You want to have a unique selling proposition. But you also want to take a look at what's already great. Like, is your business like another business? Or is your business a niche or a niche off a bigger market? And if that's the case, there should be other creative genius, thought leaders, successful people in that field that you can study. And you don't have to just study them. You will probably, most likely, no matter what field you're in, will find a wealth of knowledge and books, especially books from whatever field of study. And I don't think that you need to read every single book. That's not what I'm saying. But find like the 10 best books of any subject that you can latch on to and you really feel like you're into. Find the best 10 books and read them over and over again. Some say 10 times. I know it sounds tedious. I know it sounds tedious, but like after the third or fourth time of reading something that you actually enjoy reading and studying, there's this weird magic that starts happening. It starts becoming almost like second nature, the way it's being retained and sponged inside your brain. And this is how you can almost hack these people that you look up to. Like some of the ways and mannerisms and habits and all these other things, like you can develop these skills on your own by literally just applying yourself in some similar fashion over and over and over again. And again, one easy, quick, and relied, trusting way to do this. A lot of people will say to do this too is find instead of reading every book on the subject, read the 10 best. Read the 10 or 15 or 20 best books and read them more than once. 2, 3 times if you can. And after the second time, you should start thinking about taking notes. For sure. Sometimes I'll start taking notes even on the first time. It slows down my reading, but you just whenever it feels right to start taking notes, you just take them. I mean, there's no better advice I can give you or anybody else than to take notes, especially students. Whether you're going to drop a class, add a class, you hate all your classes, you love all your classes, you don't know how much longer you're going to go to school, you're going to be going to school for a long time. Whatever the case may be, take notes. Take lots of notes. Take as many notes as much as you can, and I would definitely stick to taking notes on things too that where you can kind of see the broader aspect of things and put your own spin on it. Sometimes it might be just a few words even that will just trigger a memory or something that has already been retained. I honestly wish somebody told this to me when I was younger. Is to like, no matter what you do in school, I mean, do good and all that, but like, no matter what you do in school, take proper notes. Because that's a skill that's definitely going to help you later on. It's definitely going to help you later on. Like, I know when we were younger, I mean, at least folks my age will remember when we were in school, they kind of lied to us. Well, quite a few things, but that's another story. They would lie to us about, I'm not saying anything bad about schools, by the way. I'm just saying, before technology was the way it is now, they would say things like, you better learn this math. You better learn this. I know it sounds crazy to some of you younger people. You better learn this math. You better, whatever the math might be, because what they would say is, well, they would allow calculators, right? In math classes, sometimes it was like you had to have a calculator. I mean, I'll get to the punchline in a second. I know I messed it up, but like they would say, you gotta learn this math. You gotta learn this math. Sometimes they would even take the calculators away, and they would, you know what they would say? They would say, hey, when you get older and you're working, you're not gonna have a calculator in your pocket all the time. So you gotta learn how to do this math without a calculator. Whoa, boy, were they wrong. I mean, how are you watching this right now? I am assuming some of you, no, everybody is watching this that has a calculator on the device that you're watching this on or listening to, whether it be a phone, whether it be an iPad, whether it be hey, even if it's like a Kindle, even if it's a computer, a PC, a phone, they all have calculators on them, don't they? Every single one of them does. I can't think of anything that was made where you can watch a video on and there's not also a calculator app somewhere on it. Maybe there's some outliers out there, but you get the point. is 25, 30 years ago plus. If you go back 30 years ago, especially 30 years ago and beyond that, that was a common thing they would say. Is that you needed to learn the math a certain way because you were not going to have a calculator in your pocket at all times. Sure, some people might have, but like they didn't see that we were going to have, cell phones and, Androids and iPhones and stuff in our pockets. And that we were always going to be able to have a calculator, did they? It's just funny. But one thing that I know, to round this out, that will never go out of style, no matter what, is taking notes. You could take notes a lot of different ways, huh? You don't necessarily need a pen and paper. However, some say that might be the best way to take them because it's just a quicker way to get the information into your brain and retain it. Some people, they might say typing notes is better. Hey, some people record notes. Everybody takes notes their own way, and that's fine. You just want to be an effective, good note taker. Out of everything else, every single skill I would say in school, being a good note taker would be the absolutely, hands down, beyond anything else, best skill to have and develop when you're in school. And hey, notes, like I just said, can be taken and retained in all different ways, especially nowadays with technology too. You can actually use technology to your advantage and take notes on this one, for sure. As time goes on, the ability and the ways and the capacity for us to take notes has actually been increased like so much. It's just that a lot of people, they kind of get lazy with it and they don't see the importance of it. But I'm telling you right now, later on, you don't see, like, we're all like, oh yeah, I can, I'll remember. You won't. You will, but you really need the trigger. You need the mental note, even the trigger. Sometimes it could just be a color, a word, a phrase, maybe even a doodle on your note sheet. Sometimes that will all take to trigger, oh yeah, that's what happened in such and such a year, blah blah blah, and this is the story behind it. But you gotta take the notes so that way you can get at least triggers. And they'll open the doors in your mind so that way you can go back and be like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, I remember that. But if you don't take any notes, you'll just have a sea of endless knowledge that if you're lucky you can maybe tap into, but the best way to navigate that is take notes. And and like Vance Morris's advice too, find those greats, find the greatest out there in whatever field of study what they're studying, study the people that they're studying, read the books, read them as many times as you can, and take good notes. That's all I have to say for you today. Good luck on your journey. Thank you very much for listening and or watching. I appreciate it. Peace.